Well, hey, it's Billy Tarasio with Modern Law Practice. And today I want to talk about change management. And really, what we're talking about is how do you get people in your law firm to adapt to the changes you want to make? You are the law firm owner, you have all these ideas, you want to constantly improve, you want to implement new technologies or new processes, or you want to try new things to make your business better, right? And do you ever feel like if you introduce one more thing, your people's head might explode and they might leave you, or they grumble and they don't want to change, they don't understand why you have to improve? Why can't you just continue doing things the way that you've always done them? This is something that I hear from lawyers all the time. And it's one of the things that people talk to us when they bring us on from Modern Law Practice, and we come on, and of course we institute change because that's our whole function. Our function is to make your law firm better, and that means making changes. And one of the things they often say is, well, how are you going to get my staff on board? And I get it because I have staff, and getting my staff on board with changes is hard. And so I want to talk about change management for a minute. First, recognize that every single person does not like change, including us. And we, law firm owners, are less resistant to change, more open to change and risk, right, than our employees. That's why we're the owners and they're the employees. So number one, we can recognize that this is not a them problem. This is a human problem. Number two, when we come forward with an idea, we've thought about it. This is not the first time we've heard it. And maybe the first time we heard this idea that we're trying to institute, maybe we were resistant too. Maybe the first time we heard about implementing project management, we were like, maybe it took you 10 times of reading and hearing about project management before you actually decided you wanted to do it in your law firm. That's something that we often forget. By the time we've gotten to our staff, we've already lived with an idea. We've already become invested in an idea. So it's unfair of us to think that they're going to react how we're reacting after our 10th or 12th or 20th time wrestling with an idea. So when you are introducing change, the first thing you want to do is make sure to talk about it well in advance of expecting them to do anything, because you need to get buy-in. So the first thing you're going to want to do is talk about why you need this change. What are you trying to accomplish, and how will it benefit them? What is in it for them? Will it make their jobs easier? Will it eliminate a pain point? Will it make it so they make more money? Will it make it so that their job is easier because their clients are happier? What is it that is in it for them? Why should they invest the time in something that might fail? Because most of our experiments, well, most of us lawyers have introduced change that ended up not working. And our staff may have experienced that with us, and they may have feelings about that. So that's one thing. First, talk about it and describe what problem you're trying to fix and what's in it for them. Second, make them part of the decision-making process. Explain your thought process, your ideas, the direction you're going in, and then ask them, and truly ask them open-minded for their feedback. What do they think might go wrong? It's really easy to not want to hear that because we are quite sure at this point, we've wrestled with this already. We've decided it's going to work. But by suspending that and setting aside time to let them troubleshoot it, you're helping them come along the change management process. You're also making them more invested. Also, imagine that you'll need to talk about something 10, 12, 15 times before you ask them to implement anything and before you expect them to be on board. Don't take their negative pushback as them being resistant to change, or even as them being disruptive or disobedient or not encouraging. Recognize that they're simply going through the continuum of change. Then ask for buy-in. Recognize and affirm things that they're pointing out that might be risks, and help include them in ways that you're going to mitigate against those risks. Recognize who your influencers are, and your influencers may not be the people who've been with you the longest. They may not be the attorneys over the paralegals. It could be that you have paralegals or office managers or even admin reception staff that are influencers. So reach out to influencers, bring people in, make time to listen to them. Be open to the fact that your idea might not be best for them. It may be a tweak that you need here or there, and then develop a process with them that they understand about how it is that you're going to implement your system and how it is you're going to measure those results. Make sure that they know that this isn't something that if you approach things with an experimental mindset, here's what we're trying to accomplish, here's what we're going to try, and here's what we expect the results to be. Then we determine how are we going to measure whether or not it's doing what we thought it would do. And then we step back and we say, okay, well, we're going to try this for X amount of time. And here's what we're going to see if we can accomplish. At that point, everybody knows that you're open to your experiment failing or not failing, but working differently than you thought it would. And they just need to hang in there long enough for this experiment in order to determine if it's working or not working. Instead of having people pitted against each other, everyone goes in with an experimental mindset. Most recently, this happened in my firm. I have a new managing attorney, and she decided she wanted to suspend our work from home policy. This is a little bit sacrilegious within my firm. In fact, my firm is quite used to the fact that they have lots and lots of flexibility. But we were experiencing what can sometimes happen when you have ultimate flexibility. Some people work very well from home. Some people don't. Some people have space when they're working from home and calm and they're away from their children. And they're able to get more done than they would in the office. And other people have a hard time closing off one area of their life. So they have a hard time turning off their personal life in order to focus on work. And that was happening with a number of people in our firm. So our managing attorney said, I think we should suspend the work from home policy. Here's what I think it will accomplish. Here's where I'd like to check in at different points to see how it's going. She talked to people individually. She talked to stakeholders. She got their buy-in. And we're in the middle of this experiment. And not everyone likes it. And there have already been tweaks to the experiment, which I think is totally perfectly acceptable. But everyone's talking about, okay, well, what are the things we're trying to accomplish? And what did we maybe lose through our work from home policy? And is there a way that we can make sure that we accomplish those things without losing something that's important, like our work from home policy? This is just one example, but anytime you try any experiment or you institute any change or new software or a new pricing structure or a new person or a new role, this is the way that you should think about moving forward and presenting it to your team, because you want their buy-in. You really can't succeed without the buy-in of your team, and it's going to help a lot if you go through this process of change management in order to get it. Make sure to subscribe and so you don't miss anything. And if you have questions, send them my way. I'd love to hear about what's working in your firm and the burning questions that you've got and the things that are keeping you up at night. Thanks.